It was meant to be nothing more than an ordinary company dinner. My wife, Sarah, had urged me to attend, saying it would be good for me to get acquainted with the people she worked with. I wasn't particularly enthusiastic. Events like that always felt artificial, filled with individuals straining to impress each other. Even so, I agreed, wanting her to know I supported her. When we entered the refined banquet hall, I immediately noticed how impeccably dressed everyone was, the sound of laughter carrying across the room. I remained beside Sarah, proud to be there with her, until one man drew my attention. One of her colleagues, Daniel, appeared far too focused on her. From the instant we sat down, he directed more attention towards Sarah than anyone else. Compliments about her dress, her hair, her smile, it was constant. At first, I dismissed it, convincing myself it was harmless politeness. But as the evening continued, his actions became more forward. He leaned closer than necessary when speaking, touched her arm with an ease that suggested familiarity, and laughed louder than warranted at everything she said. I could tell Sarah was growing uncomfortable, though she tried to remain courteous. Then it happened without warning, in full view of everyone. Daniel reached across the table and seized Sarah's hand, gripping it firmly as he said, "A woman like her deserves better." The conversation died instantly, and every face turned toward us. I saw the stunned look in Sarah's eyes, her lips slightly parted in disbelief. She tried to withdraw her hand, but his hold lingered just long enough to make it clear. That was when I knew I couldn't stay still. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't swear. Instead, I slowly pushed my chair back and stood. The sound of its legs scraping the floor cut sharply through the silence. Every gaze followed as I walked deliberately around the table, each step measured. Daniel's confident smirk faltered, though he still hadn't released her hand. He watched me, clearly anticipating an angry reaction, but it never came. I simply rested my hand on his shoulder and leaned close enough that only he could hear. In a quiet, steady tone, I said, "If you don't release my wife's hand right now, I promise you'll regret it in ways you won't forget." My voice wasn't loud, but it carried enough edge to slice through the heavy stillness. Sarah's hand came free immediately as Daniel's face lost its color. He leaned back, muttering something about it being a misunderstanding, but no one present believed him. I straightened, adjusted my jacket, and spoke to the entire table. "Respect isn't optional," I said evenly, letting my eyes move across each person there. "Not for my wife, and not for anyone here. If this kind of conduct is acceptable at these gatherings, then we won't be part of them." The silence deepened until the faint sound of a glass touching the table could be heard. No one moved. No one spoke. My words lingered in the air, heavy and unmistakable. Sarah looked at me, her eyes wide with gratitude. I helped her to her feet and gently guided her toward the door. Behind us, quiet murmurs began, but no one tried to stop us. The sight of Daniel sitting there, exposed and humiliated in front of his peers, stayed fixed in my mind. He had crossed a boundary, and I had made sure it was clear to everyone. Outside, Sarah gripped my arm tightly. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling. I could see how deeply the moment had shaken her, but also how relieved she was that I had stood up for her without causing a spectacle. My restraint had spoken more powerfully than anger ever could. It wasn't only about protecting her. It was about making it clear that dignity and respect matter more than ego or aggression. By the following morning, news of what happened had spread quickly through Sarah's workplace. Those who had seen it shared the story, and before long, Daniel's reputation had unraveled. He attempted to minimize it, but no one accepted his explanations. The reality was plain. He had crossed a line, and I had made sure he understood it couldn't be crossed again. Sarah's supervisor even contacted me personally, offering an apology for the unacceptable behavior and assuring us it would be addressed. In the end, that night did more than quiet a room. It strengthened our marriage. Sarah told me she had never felt so protected, so valued in all the years we'd been together. For me, it was simple. Love isn't proven only through words. It's proven through action when it matters most. And sometimes the strongest response isn't anger or force. It's a calm, unshakable stand that leaves no question about where you draw the line.